when we last left our intrepid adventurers. So they were smart. They were settling down for camp, but they left a guard up to keep watch. And so we approached the camp, and the guard, did he spot us or not?
Yeah, he heard you. So they got a surprise round, but the guard got to act in the surprise round.
And then we won initiative. So we get a surprise round, then the guard gets a surprise round, then we get a regular round, and then they get a regular round. Mm-hmm. So in the surprise round, I timeless tracked the guard. So he doesn't get his surprise round. So then everyone else, swarmed in at the sleeping guards to do horrible things to these sleeping guards who are sleeping there all curled up. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
All
coiled up.
Coiled up with their snakiness.
Yeah. Don't worry, they're all bad.
So they're large. They're size large. They have huge coils, and at the end of a huge coiling snake, they have
humanoid
torso and a head, and they're holding
spears.
They're holding spears and tower shields.
And they're not sleeping.
And they're sleeping. They're sleeping, but they woke up when we started attacking them. And also they are wearing chainmail, big tube of chainmail down the whole snake. So yeah, they're brutes. They're heavily armored brutes. So I'm trying to remember the sequence of combat. A lot of stuff happened.
In the beginning, there was...
the surprise round was mostly us just moving into position, right?
Yes, and then the first round, basically everyone critted all the time.
Yeah, that was... Well, also because we were just very lucky with our rolls.
Yeah, that's interesting. No one actually...
Coup de grace?
No one actually tried to coup de grace.
Yeah.
Although, actually, Hank probably could have, but he just forgot to.
Yeah.
Everyone else ended up attacking in different ways.
Yeah. The guard that I timeless tracked saved out of it immediately, so we only lost his surprise round.
Right.
But still, that was handy because he didn't wake anyone up.
There was one that was charmed so that whenever he attacked, he had a 50% chance of attacking his friend instead.
Yeah, the Serendipity did that one right off the bat.
And they hammered a bunch of them, but was anyone actually killed in the first round?
I don't think in the first round, no. We laid down some heavy damage and we got that guy confused.
And Croesus got into the middle of them and marked a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Did he set up his kitchen?
No, he didn't, oddly enough.
But then then it was their turn.
And it turned out they had some awesome abilities that Croesus hated. Their tower shields made them basically immune to opportunity attacks.
Oh.
Which is what Croesus does.
Yeah.
So.
And it was kind of ironic because Croesus always thwarts everything I try to do. But then I had this monster that has ability that thwarts everything he does. And
he was like...
Tim didn't take that too well. I was like, now you know what it's like to be me.
Yeah. And it was great because he could still launch the opportunity attack. It just like auto-failed. Right. So he could futilely try his...
and for all his complaints, he still... It only affected things that hit or miss. So he could still do the thing where you make the enemy eat their own damage.
Yeah, he did that a few times. It was
And so he's like, he just made the enemy take 120 damage, and he's complaining that he couldn't use the opportunity.
But yeah, it was. They had this thing where they could. They had threatening reach because they had spears and they're snakes, so they do the dart out.
But the threatening reach is only 2 squares, but it was still hard to get up to. It was
still, you had to go through it in order to get up to them.
Huge coiled body, and they could dart out 7 squares and back and make a melee attack. So they could melee you from afar, and then when you came up close to them, they got an opportunity attack to get up to them.
And that sort of that strike thing where they strike out, they did more damage the closer they were to you. The further out that they had to extend in order... It was like a d6 per square or something. So if they were point blank range, you got like 7d6 extra damage.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. That's more than my sneak attack damage.
So they could hit you from range, or they could do massive damage.
Yeah.
And they did some massive damage to Hank and almost took him out in their turn.
Hank was badly hurt.
And then...
But then Croesus made some of them eat their own damage doing that. And that was bad for them.
And they also had a grab ability. What's it called?
It was a constrict.
Constrict, yeah.
So, they did get someone.
They got Croesus.
Got Croesus, right.
And it restrains you, so you can't pull or slide out of it. And it restrains your arms, so you can't use implement or weapon attacks while you're.
And that was a lot of his cool things as well.
So they grabbed him and whatever, and then for a minor, anyone they've constricted once around, they can do massive damage to, which they did. And Croesus just did the thing where he rolls a d20, and if he rolls over 10, it does no damage. So it did no damage, and then immediately on his turn, he teleported, because it was a psionic ability. It didn't require an implement.
Yeah.
So that was completely pointless.
I also pulled out, what was it called? I have a thing, it's an area attack. It doesn't do a lot of damage, or any damage really, but it prevents the targets from doing opportunity attacks. Phantasmal Swarm, or hallucinatory, is the insect swarm thing. My wizard ability. Yeah. I'm a wizard too. Yeah. Yeah, I read through my things like, I'm a wizard, assassin, warlord, bard, life singer. I'm an assassin life singer. And
what was that guy who everything bad happened to? He was blinded. With
right. Yes, the first guy in that we hit, he was still asleep, and who was I don't know. I think it was Hank that hit him. No, it was Ben Gerard.
Yeah, 2 different people critted it 2 different times, and both times they blinded people.
Permanent blindness.
I think Ben Gerard just dragged one. I think it was Serendipity that blinded the one guy. I could be wrong.
I seem to remember it was he was bit. He was bit or something, and I was like, wow, you bit his eyes out.
No, he bit a different guy. I think he went in there and did the thorns thing where it just gives everyone a penalty, and that guy got blinded by it or something.
So one of them started the combat. He was asleep, and then he was permanently blinded, and that woke him up. And then we killed him very quickly after that.
We put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was the guy that got massively damaged down to. He got blinded, and then something else happened to him. He got. Something else terrible happened to him, and he got reduced to 1 hit point. And they're like leaving him alive because he was like, well, otherwise, if he just dies,
he's
then
useless.
Won't get to know that he was blind. Something.
Yeah, Croesus was also... Tim later sort of retconned, realizing this was out of character for Croesus, but he was like, we need to tell them just how miserable and hopeless their situation is so that they will properly, have hopelessness and misery before they die. And I was like, that's really dark. Let's not do that. Let's just kill them.
He went dark because he couldn't opportunity.
Actually, that was last session. That was before this all went down.
Oh, jeez.
And he was like, later, he's like, Croesus wouldn't have actually made that suggestion.
So, on the party's turn, I know that Serendipity did something. No, Cricket did something to make them all attack each other, and they all missed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used my Frenzied Rhythm thing again, which is the make everyone do a basic attack, and every single one of them missed.
But Serendipity did it successfully.
Yeah, so... Yeah, let's see. Any other major neato things right before the end?
Hank ran up to attack one, and was like, I don't care that he has opportunity to attack. So he does his massive damage thing on Hank. Someone does something to prevent it. Oh, yeah, right. Croesus makes him... Does he make him eat his own? He makes him eat his own damage, which kills him. So Hank does this thing, runs up and is like in a blood frenzy, and then the guy just explodes with psychic energy in front of him when Hank takes the massive damage.
So then Hank was like, "Can I redirect my charge to the next guy after him?"
Yeah.
I let him use an action point to do that.
Yeah.
So he runs up to the next guy after him, and he's like,
he does his opportunity attack,
and
Croesus does it again.
I don't think he was marked. Was he?
Right, there was 2 guys he could have attacked.
Yeah.
One guy that Hank would be able to kill for sure with this attack, and one guy that was like totally fresh. And every single bit of tactics said go attack the guy that's already hurt.
Right.
But Croesus had him marked, and Hank was like, "No, I'm not letting you steal another guy," even though it would have been like a free kill. It's like, "No, I'm attacking that guy." So he attacks that guy, takes the massive damage, which is enough to take him down.
Yes, I remember.
So Hank went down?
Hank went down to 0. So I immediately used Word of Life, which brought him back up and gives a massive penalty to the defenses of the guy that took him down. And then what happened? I remember that turned out to be pointless. Because
Hank did a massive blow and actually he critted him.
Well, yeah, he critted. So the penalty I gave to the penalty was pointless.
And did massive damage and killed him instantly.
Yeah.
And Drod was upset because that was the guy he was dragging off.
Yeah.
He was like dragging that guy off, and all of a sudden the guy just disappears.
So
the guy just disappears in a red mist, and there's Hank.
So yeah, everyone was upset at the previous guy for kill stealing the guy that he was working on. Yeah. So in the end, there was just one guy left. I think we were about to that at that point. Once that happened, there was like one survivor.
I decided he would beg for mercy.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, what are these guys like? I'm like, okay, they have a deep voice, so I started using deep voice. And they're like, why are they Jamaican? I'm like, wait, no, they're not Jamaican. They're German. So I start doing this German deep voice, and it's Arnold. I wasn't trying to do Arnold, but that's exactly what it was. It was, please, I beg for mercy. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but that was just exactly, I don't know, deep German voice. Yeah. So then he starts begging for mercy, please. Let me go free and I'll do whatever you want. You can have all that stuff.
So yeah, we start discussing how we probably shouldn't, we should just kill him. And we're just talking amongst ourselves to say, yeah, we should probably just kill him. So he's like, okay, begging for mercy didn't work. So he flees. He tries to. And so we basically hunt him down and kill him like a dog.
Yeah, they get him, and finally Gerard comes up to deal the final blow, and he's like, come on, kill me, do it, do it now.
He just leaned into that a bit.
Yeah, so, yeah, we killed him. And that was the end of the scheme to disrupt the Great War.
Right.
Successfully killed. We killed a lot of doppelgangers as well. We don't know how many doppelgangers there are, but this must have been a serious blow. But the problem is we need to kill all of them. We need to genocide the doppelgangers. So we still have things to do. We haven't finished with doppelgangers yet. But we still don't know where they all are, and we have other things now on our plate. So last session, I gave them Cricket's proposal, the party Cricket's proposal. And they agreed to it, but I had to re-argue my case this session because for some reason everyone's really wary of this plan. They think it's like weird somehow or something. It sets them on edge. So anyway, we had to discuss in greater detail what the plan actually was so that I could convince them that, Cricket actually had good things, good solutions for all of history's woes.
Please, don't become a Nazi.
Yeah, or at least all of the woes that I could actually plausibly fix.
Simulate Nazism while not killing anyone.
Yeah, I mean, history still has to play out for the party the way it did.
Yeah.
So
in gross terms, the same way. Too.
Yeah. But more importantly for the party, because that is where the direct paradoxes come in. The other stuff, I may have to pull some Jenga blocks here and there to make it happen.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more flexible.
But you will be immortal.
I think.
Even so, everyone else might be affected by Jenga blocks too. Yeah. So even though I won't get squished, if I try and change something and it fails, it'll squish a lot of other people, and then things will turn out the way they did anyway.
Right.
So I still have to be as light a touch as I can. So I described some of my plans, because apparently I'm Anthedon again. And so I've spent weeks working out elaborate plans. So the big thing that they're concerned about, they still think that domestics are evil. The making of domestics are evil. And I agree that melting down pain slaves to make them is evil. But it's one of these lesser of two evil questions, because we're trying to end pain slavery, and melting them down does end it. But the solution I proposed is, okay, we still have to make domestics because that happened. But maybe I can ethically source the souls for these domestics. Instead of melting down these pain slaves that are trying to go through the Temple of Freedom to get free. So, my plan, starting 1,500 years in the past, one of the things that kind of sucked about the Empire was it had slavery. I can't change that because that's a pretty fundamental aspect of history. But maybe I can make slavery a little less bad by setting up a official government-run retirement community for elderly slaves and infirm slaves that are no longer economically useful. Normally they would probably, I don't know, they'd probably get cast out and die or something. So give them a nice retirement, and then when they're on their deathbed, primal prison them in blocks of stone, and then after 1,500 years I'll have millions of dying slaves imprisoned in stone, and I will use those to make domestics, one for each pain slave that comes through the Temple of Freedom, and the pain slave will actually be sent on the trip to get freed. So, spending thousands of years imprisoning dying slaves in stone so that I can use their souls to manufacture a servant race. What's so evil about this solution? I don't get it.
Wait, you are still melting people.
Everyone else, well, I'll do it. I'll make sure they get drugged before they get put in the primal prison, so they'll never actually wake up and experience the process.
You're gonna what?
Drug them.
Drug them.
I was gonna say. I was actually gonna make that recommendation.
Yeah.
It's great. You already talked.
Yep. Of course. I've been thinking about this for weeks, and Anthon's been helping.
And so they'll never know. They'll basically go to sleep.
Yep.
And their soul will be reborn.
And they
Although at the same time, what you're doing is guaranteeing that for 1,500 years, for all the slaves in the Empire, even death will not be their base.
Exactly.
so also
But they'll sleep through it. It's fine.
they need something to do with all these stones.
Except that, I mean,
So the thought is they build the Temple of Freedom out of them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or pave the roads with them.
Oh my god.
The roads of the Empire are paved with slaves.
But no one knows it. It's all right.
Doesn't make it okay.
Yeah. So this actually won over Ben Geron.
Yep.
Was the biggest holdout. But Croesus was like, who had reluctantly agreed, was like, I've changed my mind. I was worried Cricket would turn evil, but she already had.
So I had to win Croesus over now. And so I was like, okay, so there's this world's wound thing that you're supposed to be obsessed about that only comes up every once in a while, but you're obsessed with getting that close, right? I can help, because one of my other plans for making things better, throughout the history of the Empire of Endless Flowers, there's
That's right.
this? Yeah. So throughout the history of the Empire, there have been a lot of wars. Skirmishes with neighbors, but also internal wars. And the Serpent Queen, she was always, a ruler that made people do stuff for her. My intention...
Isn't that just what a ruler is?
Yeah.
If you aren't getting people to do things for you, you're not actually a ruler. You're just a person in a fancy suit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, first, I won't be a person. And secondly, I will be an epic level assassin. So, I figure a lot of these wars I can probably nip in the bud with a well-placed assassination.
You're not evil at all.
Yeah.
I'm a life singer assassin, all right?
You're right. Power vacuums have never filtered in uncertainty.
Well, the thing is, it will reduce the number. It'll reduce the number of wars that happen, which means I'm going to have a whole bunch of soldiers that history recorded as having died. So I got to dispose of them somehow.
Or the political instability will result in more wars.
No, I'll just assassinate my way to peace.
I'm siding with Chris.
There are a few wars that can't be solved with enough assassinations. Anyway, it will result in a fewer number of deaths in total, and less destruction. But I'll have these soldiers history recorded as dying, and if they live, that'll be time tower trouble, so it'll be expedient to arrange for them to be expended somehow. So I figured I'll have the Empire start trying to help out the Oblin with their guarding of the chasm by sending detachments of troops to go and help them do whatever it is the heck they're doing over there. I don't actually know what they do. They're always going on about how we're trying to close the world's wound, but they just sort of stand along the edge, being upset at it. I'm sure they're doing something.
Out of ideas, okay?
There is some truth to that. They mostly fight the monsters that come out of the chasm, and they do have away shards growing on the edges, slowly closing it up, but then chaos beasts come up and wreck it, and they just...
Okay, so killing the chaos beast actually does help somewhat with closing of the wound. Okay.
It does seem that their strategy may not be the most effective. But
I was going to call
committed.
I was going to call Croesus out on that because I'm agreeing to help you close the world's wound. What exactly does that do? Like, what do you do? What do you do? But yes, I'll have a bunch of soldiers free that I can send to help out with this. Now, I'll have to be careful. I mean, it's good that it sounds like their plan is pretty ineffective, because
If you actually
if I actually manage to close the wound, then that's going to be a massive screw with history as well. So
that screws with your personal history.
yeah.
Or you send those soldiers spend the rest of their lives working on a device that will, in 1,500 years, be used to seal the wound.
That was actually my fallback thought, was like, if sending soldiers is going to be too effective, then I'll just have like research be done, and then in 1,500 years when we hit baseline, we'll give the Goblin all this research, and then maybe there'll be a big advance in closing. But if
Croesus has
Just
that
fill-
stone bomb thing.
yeah, I figure we'll plant a forest of those things or
Just
something.
fill the rift with primal prison soldiers.
Oh no, I'm busy doing that with slaves.
Maybe you can add a second lane to that highway. For use by the military. Fitting. Some service roads.
One interesting thing is we don't know how evil this is in this world, because we don't know anything about the afterlife in this world, and souls and spirits and what happens. I don't think anyone's ever talked about it.
If we use the souls to make domestics, and the souls are stuck to the domestics haunting them, eventually the domestic dies anyway. So
Apparently not.
it's just a detour. Well, okay, one of them won't.
You'll still have to melt down Katrina.
Oh yes, that I mentioned that I'm going to have to still do that. that's going to have
That's
to be
the
done.
one that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Again.
It has come up that
And you're
there's
going to be
like
standing there watching it.
Twice.
generic- generally held belief in the afterlife, because that's why the doppelgangers are so bad, because they eat your soul forever. So, but yeah, it is true that it's just a detour anyway. So, I mean, not that it's totally okay, but I think I do agree that it's better. The thing that's weird, again, is time travel messes up the morality of it, right? Because like normally people are like, I'll do this assassination to stop a war, but they don't know.
Right.
Whereas like
there will be a war, and X number of people are going to die in this war.
and
If I kill this guy, then there won't be that war. So
if I save up all these elderly people and then melt them down, it will save people who thought they were going free from being melted down, and it really will. And if I don't do it, then I'll never even have the chance to have done it. So I think it's weird, because normally in life when people make arguments like that, it's very,
very sketchy.
very sketchy.
I know my arguments on melting people down.
Is the time travel trolley problems?
Yeah, I actually did mention in one instance, like, this is basically the trolley problem on a huge scale.
But the thing that's interesting about the trolley problem is, while it's posed as like a problem for real life, it doesn't. The reason people make the wrong decision normally is because nothing is ever certain in like real life, like it is in the trolley problem. But when you put time travel in, it really is certain in like an absolute sense.
Yeah. We know this is going to be the outcome if you don't do anything.
So,
Like the trolley problem being the two trains traveling,
on
push the guy out of the
No,
into the road.
it's a trolley. You can switch which path it goes down.
The one that's
path
currently going down.
It's X people, and path Y is Y people.
Yeah. So it's currently going down a track that'll hit 5 people. You can pull a lever that will switch it onto a track that'll hit 2 people.
Now you guys can measure your outcomes
Yeah.
and look at, that person, one of the 5 was the new Hitler.
and
Yeah.
Let's wipe that out.
the reason
Dip that in the
people
butt.
make the wrong choice on the trolley problem normally is that, like, if you were to apply that sort of like in this problem is given to you in this absolute way,
Yeah.
but in real life it's never like that. So if you make decisions like that, that's what the great monsters of history do. They're like, well, it'll do better for our country if I kill 20,000 people from Poland. So let's, that's
You always got to bring Nazis into this somehow.
well, that's Stalin.
Oh, not everyone killed Polacks.
But,
That was how you did it in history.
But again, with time travel, it actually is more like the imaginary trolley problem thing, where it's actually like that.
Yeah. So that one over Ben-Gerard and Croesus. Hank thinks this is going to be fascinating to watch, and so he's all on board with this.
He's like, I don't really understand this plan, but sounds cool.
Yep.
I'll get my popcorn.
And Serendipity, I keep appealing to her gnomish nature. It's like, you want to own 75% of the Empress of Endless Flowers?
And it's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
Well, Serpent is a recovering gambling addict.
So I'm trying to exploit her gambling addiction here for the greater good. The greater good.
Greater good.
Yep.
You're not evil at all.
Yeah.
Narc.
I've got some other plans that I'll also be throwing in to try and make history not suck so much without actually changing the course that it takes. It's going to be an interesting and delicate. So yeah, I've been making like notes and stuff, and I don't know how, if we actually succeed at this thing. I guess I'll have to show you what all my notes are, and you'll tell me how history actually turns out or something.
I guess we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the table.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Though they'll keep interrupting and saying, "No, don't do that. That's evil."
Too late, I did it.
Greater good. So anyway, yeah. And the big unknown, as far as cricket's concerned, this is all very straightforward. You know, there was all these concerns like, oh, maybe you'll turn evil. And so Cricket was like, Hank? And Hank says, Cricket, I ordered you not to turn evil. She says, thank you. All right. Next problem? This is all very straightforward, people.
It's actually interesting because the main risk, in a way, is if in the process of discovering everything about pain or how domestics are made,
This is the unknown.
Cricket realizes that she's a person.
Yeah.
And then Hank's order no longer takes precedent.
And
Yeah.
people are super evil.
Yes. People are capable of evil.
Now, Cricket would still be the same person, but, oh well.
I
Person.
mean, 1,500 years is a
But-
long time for character development.
I've been trying to think through all of the possible scenarios that John could throw at me. Even the possibility that Cricket was right about everything all along. I think that's probably an unlikely scenario, but that
Man,
would...
she would get such an ego.
I know, I was like, she'll arrive with 1,500 years worth of smug built up. it'll be unbearable.
Smug mode.
Does that mean you will meet yourself when you go to get counseling on shares?
Well, the problem is she'll show up with all this smug, and the first thing will be serendipity will say, I already just stopped being smug.
Oh. It was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, she will have to answer her own tech support.
Yep.
Yep.
And give the same
Fortunately, I remember what I told myself.
Yeah.
No, not just that. I'm going to have to raise myself.
answer. That's true. You're gonna have to raise yourself.
I'm going to teach myself well. I'll teach myself exactly what I need to believe
Here's
in
how you
order
become
for
an
all this to
assassin.
happen.
Now you're going to manipulate and socially... Wow.
I am actually considering whether I can slip some tweaks into my own training to make myself better suited for this
Hey guys,
role that
can we
I
go
am.
around this once more time? I didn't quite get it right with this model.
Because I actually...
Let me practice how to slither. It makes no sense.
Actually, I have kept secrets from the party for my whole life several times before. So I could do that.
Divide by 6 if you could.
Yeah, split by 6.
Well,
Yeah.
Or we can do it, whatever.
So I could actually, in raising Cricket, say, oh, by the way, here's a super deep secret you mustn't ever tell anyone, and give her some clues or something. We'll see. I don't think I'll need it because I have become convinced at this point that I'm perfectly correct about everything. But it'll be
the person doing it. So
Yeah.
in theory, you are.
Yeah, but it's time travel's interesting that way.
Yeah, but even if you learn the truth about your creation, you still have to instill the same values.
Oh,
in
I
your
will,
past,
of course. That's necessary for time to
Yeah.
work out the way it did.
Even reluctantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it turns out I'm incorrect, I'll still have to teach myself the things that I believe.
Right.
I don't think I'm incorrect, of course, so I'm not too Cricket isn't really concerned about this outcome.
It's like, High
It's
Priestess,
funny.
You don't sound sincere when you tell me this.
Trust me.
No, she'll sound sincere no matter what she's saying. But anyway, Ben Gerard was actually like pressing Cricket on this. Like, what if you learn that domestics are actually people? What will you do in that circumstance? And Cricket was like, "What if purple is orange? What? You're asking me to make statements based on nonsense? I can't." So I wasn't really able to give an answer as to me, Brian. I have worked out.
What happens?
If this happens, how would Cricket react to that sort of thing? So I think I've got a pretty good idea for most scenarios. I mean, the details could vary and weird curveballs could come along. But yeah, in character, Cricket is unable to answer that question because it's a question that makes no sense.
Right.
And that's where the session ended. Our plan is to do the thing that Cricket suggested. And I guess...
So they're going to shoot ahead of time and just pick you up in the future?
Yeah, I'll meet them the long way around.
So the party is all going to go back because they expect...
You're taking the scenic route.
Yep.
They're all gonna
the serpent route?
assassinate the.
Yeah.
The Serpent Queen might have, or pre-Serpent Queen,
Yeah.
the noble that becomes Serpent Queen might have some guards sent by the Serpent Queen or by someone.
Yeah.
If
Oh, look.
possible.
6 large snakes.
No, 12 this time. 6 didn't work.
The noble
meant the same
herself
six.
is just basically an NPC on her deathbed, so that part's easy.
Yeah.
There was some discussion.
She wanted to die.
Just to put a pillow there.
Well, she's already dying of an assassination attempt. We'll just make it that the assassination attempt worked. I mean, we don't actually have to do anything to her. Just throw her in the basement and let her die.
And then
Yeah.
you just slip in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cricket just slips in.
Yeah. I had to disguise myself, and I'm lying in a deathbed like
When they
that.
bring you the
Wish.
the wish,
Ritual
you
me.
just-
Ritual me.
What are you gonna do with the wish? Same deal.
Say, yep. It needs to pan out the way it did.
But
in
does that
history,
mean you're
so-
actually going to be a serpent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
What do you mean?
Brian's already used
Yeah.
Photoshop to like. put
I've
the
made
image together.
I've made a new character portrait for my character to insert when
Now tell me you're
when I
gonna
level up.
You're gonna get a 7-square dart attack with threatening reach.
No, that's
No.
just the combat.
Yeah.
The combat
She
range.
might-
She's
Yeah.
making a bite attack.
Yeah. No, I
She
figured.
doesn't have arms.
I
You have
figured
arms.
no.
Yeah.
It was.
The current
It's
Serpent
interesting.
Queen is actually not not good in combat at
Yeah.
all. She's an epic NPC, which means her combat
Yeah.
stats are like level 2, but her bluff is like level 30.
For some reason, throughout this entire campaign, nobody has been able to accept that the Serpent Queen doesn't have arms.
Right.
But that was
Please.
always the plan. The Serpent Queen's a Naga.
Yeah.
Her highest servants are Yuan-Tai with they're mostly snake, but they've got that. And then the lesser servants are the lesser Yuan-Tai that are more human-like. Basically, the more snaky you are, the higher your rank. And she's the Naga.
So, you know how I was kind of worried about how this plan might, over the centuries turn Cricket maybe a little bit evil? It turns out it works faster than I thought, and she's kind of already turning really quite evil. I'm uncertain about this, but it's really important that we close the world's wound. So I think it's a good plan. It's doing something. It's fixing this. I can make this work. I'm pretty sure. Mostly.
Wow. Now Croesus is going evil. It's like, this is evil, but it'll close the world's wound. I guess it's okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is evil, but it'll reduce pain slavery.
And I'm like, this is evil.
Now that it's corrupting Croesus, I feel kind of bad. Like, maybe this is a bad choice.
Over the course of the history of the Empire, I could probably accumulate a huge pile of artifacts and stuff for you.
Would you do that?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah,
Would you actually do that?
sure.
I thought you didn't like me. What does
I
mean?
I like you as much as I'm ordered to like you.
Has anyone ever ordered you to like me?
No, but they haven't ordered me to dislike you either.
kind of been implicit.
Hank, can you tell Cricket to like me?
Hey, Cricket.
Yes.
Benjarod's alright.
Cool.
But you didn't tell her to like me. You just told her your opinion.
That's his opinion is in order.
Hank, I'm better than all right.
It's like a high alright.
I'm better than a high all right.
You are ranked an all right
I like
plus
you
in
just
my
fine.
estimation.
Just fine.
You're pretty good.
That's getting warmer. I am a great guy.
Come here, I love you, bro.
Oh,
Hugs.
I had to make them audible. There's something on.
Yes, I recorded the whole thing. Yeah. It was a trial log. Yeah. So Hank has ordered me to think of Benjarod as an all right guy.
So, Cricket,
Yes.
your little idea here is really out there and crazy and really complicated, and I think I understood part of it. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I like the idea of going back in time and preventing the immortal evil person from becoming immortal. This makes sense to me. What I'm not sure about is the idea of then one of our members impersonating her for the next... How long, Cricket? How long will you have to impersonate her?
1,500 and some odd years.
Seriously?
Yes.
1,000 years.
1,500.
Okay. Yeah, that's the part I'm not sure about.
I'll do a good job.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Sounds hard.
I'm sure it will be hard. I've done hard things before.
How are you going to stay sane?
I'm not supposed to go insane.
Cricket, I order you not to go insane.
There, see?
I just feel like there are a lot of things that could happen during that time, and we won't be there to help you.
One of the great benefits of domestics over simpler magical automata is that we have our own initiative. We can adapt to unexpected scenarios and situations. I'm sure there'll be a few over the course of 1.5 millennia.
If we have Panadar with us,
Yes.
and you make a mistake and somehow the timeline gets totally out of whack, or, something goes terribly wrong, because we have Panadar, we'll be able to notice that something changed, right?
Yes.
So then, if we could figure out when you did it, we can go back and help you
Yes.
not to do that thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm alright with this plan. As long as I get to go back in time. I mean, not for a long time, just for a bit.
Good.
Also, Hank has to tell you to like me.
Oh, he already did. You're A-okay.
That's not what he said. He said I'm pretty good.
What level? Pretty good?
Yeah, he's fine.
No,
you're
that's
fine.
not what you said before. You said pretty good.
Hank?
Okay.
Okay, you're pretty good.
Ha! Great. Alright, I'm alright with this plan.
All right. The future is safe from the interference of the doppelgangers and their allies, Snake, you and Ty. Well, only in their meddling with the big battle. Guys, don't we need to, get rid of the rest of the time mages before we go off doing something else? Guys?